You've been told bread is harmless, a simple pleasure, a staple of comfort, something that's been passed down through generations at breakfast tables, Sunday dinners, and family gatherings. But what if I told you the wrong slice of bread could quietly steal your strength, accelerate the aging of your brain, disrupt your blood sugar, and weaken your legs, all without a single warning sign? This isn't some dramatic exaggeration. It's a reality I've seen unfold far too often in over a decade of working with older adults. Every week, I meet seniors who are doing everything they can to stay active and independent, but one silent mistake keeps holding them back. That mistake often starts with what seems like an innocent loaf of bread. You see, some types of bread, though familiar, comforting, and even marketed as healthy, can trigger low-grade inflammation, damage the delicate blood vessels in your lower limbs, and silently drain the very energy you need to move, think, and live freely. These aren't abstract health risks. For people over 65, they translate into a very real and dangerous increase in falls, fatigue, memory issues, and even loss of independence. That's why I made this video. Because bread is no longer just bread, it's either working for you or working against you. And in this video, I'll walk you through the 3 types of bread every senior should eat to support their heart, sharpen their mind, and stabilize their body, and the 3 breads you must avoid if you want to protect your legs, joints, and brain as you age. I'll also reveal a shocking truth about one particular bread that looks healthy on the outside, but may be one of the worst for your circulation and long-term strength. So before we go any further, take a moment to ask yourself, is the bread you're eating helping you age strong, or is it quietly breaking you down? If you're ready to take back control of your health, I invite you to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more content designed just for you, and comment 1 below if you're with me. If not, feel free to comment 0. Your feedback helps me make this better for you. And please, stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share might completely change how you see the most common food in your kitchen. So let's begin this journey towards smarter choices, stronger legs, and a clearer mind. And where better to start than with the loaf that builds strength from the inside out, 100% whole grain bread. Now that you understand just how powerful your daily bread choices can be, let's turn the spotlight toward the breads that actually support your body as it ages. Because the truth is, not all breads are bad. In fact, the right ones can become quiet protectors of your heart, mind, and mobility. As we get older, every bite needs to count. The body no longer rebounds from poor choices the way it once did. But here's the good news. When you give it the right fuel, it still responds beautifully. That's why this next section is so important. We're about to explore 3 types of bread that don't just fill your plate, they fortify your future. These are loaves rich in fiber, nutrients, and compounds that help stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and even protect the very muscles that keep you standing strong. If you've ever wondered whether bread could actually help you feel clearer, move steadier, and live longer, the answer is yes. You just have to know which ones to reach for. So let's dive into the first one, simple, overlooked, and deeply powerful, the kind of bread that builds lasting strength from within. 1. 100% whole grain bread. Build strength from within. It may not look flashy, but this humble loaf could protect your legs, heart, and mind if you choose the right one. I'm talking about 100% whole grain bread, the quiet powerhouse that far too many seniors overlook or confuse with imposters that merely look brown but act like white bread in disguise. The truth is, as we age, food isn't just about calories anymore. It's about fuel that either supports your independence or slowly erodes it. Whole grain bread, when truly made from the full grain kernel, the bran, germ, and endosperm, delivers a steady stream of fiber, B vitamins, minerals like magnesium and potassium, and antioxidants that directly nourish aging muscles, nerves, and blood vessels. These nutrients aren't just helpful, they're critical for maintaining balance, mental clarity, and cardiovascular strength. I've worked with older adults for over a decade, and time again I've seen how switching to true whole grains helps regulate blood sugar, reduce inflammation, ease digestion, and even sharpen mood and memory. Yes, the gut and brain are more connected than most people think. And unlike refined bread that spikes your energy and leaves you crashing, 100% whole grain bread offers lasting fuel that helps you walk with steadier steps and think more clearly throughout the day. What's more, it supports a healthy gut microbiome, which plays a direct role in immunity, mental health, and how your body absorbs the very nutrients that keep your bones strong and your muscles responsive. Seniors who eat this kind of bread regularly often report less bloating, more energy, and even better sleep. And yet, far too often, I see patients unknowingly eating so-called multigrain or wheat bread that's mostly refined flour with a few seeds thrown on top. Don't be fooled by labels that say made with whole wheat. Look for one that clearly says 100% whole grain as the first ingredient. This small change isn't a diet trick. It's a statement that your health is worth protecting with every single bite. I like to say, if your legs are going to carry you through the years ahead, give them something worth standing on. Whole grain bread may not be glamorous, but it's dependable, and when paired with healthy fats or protein like nut butter or eggs, it becomes a powerful anchor in your day. Still, as incredible as whole grain bread is, it's not the only option. There's another loaf that deserves just as much attention, one that's soft, heart-friendly, and packed with a special fiber that lowers cholesterol and stabilizes energy like nothing else. It's often forgotten on the shelf, but can make all the difference, especially for seniors who struggle with blood pressure or fatigue. Let's take a closer look at this underrated champion, oat bread. 2. Oat bread, gentle nourishment for the heart, muscles, and mind. Most people skip this bread, but seniors who eat it have steadier steps, sharper thinking, and stronger immunity. Oat bread doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't come in flashy packaging or promise weight loss miracles, but it delivers where it matters most. Especially for older adults navigating fatigue, high cholesterol, or digestive issues, true oat bread is a quiet healer. Made from whole oats and often blended with whole wheat flour, this loaf is rich in beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber that acts like a gentle broom inside your arteries. It helps sweep away excess cholesterol, reduces strain on the heart, and improves blood flow to every part of your body from your brain to your toes. And for seniors, good circulation isn't just a luxury. It's essential for memory, movement, and long-term independence. What makes oat bread even more powerful is its impact on the gut. Its prebiotic fibers feed your good gut bacteria, which play a direct role in regulating your immune system, reducing chronic inflammation, and even lifting your mood. I've seen seniors go from constant bloating and irregular digestion to comfort and calm just by making small daily swaps like this one. The slow-digesting carbs in oat bread also release energy gradually, unlike the sugar-spiking white bread that leaves you shaky and drained. With oat bread, your body gets a steady supply of fuel, helping you stay balanced, mentally alert, and physically grounded throughout the day. And for those dealing with blood sugar issues or prediabetes, this is more than a benefit, it's a lifeline. But beyond the science, there's something soothing about oat bread. The texture, the warmth, the way it pairs perfectly with almond butter or a slice of avocado, it feels familiar, comforting, grounding. In my years of working with older adults, I've learned that food isn't just about nutrients. It's also about how it makes you feel. And oat bread has a way of nourishing the spirit as much as the body. It tells your system, you're safe. You're supported. You don't have to crash to get through the day. That's powerful. Still, even this gentle giant has a cousin with a deeper story, one shaped by time, fermentation, and living cultures. It's a bread that's as ancient as it is transformative. One that doesn't just sit well in the gut, but actually heals it from within, unlocking minerals your body can't absorb from other breads and stabilizing blood sugar better than most grains ever could. For seniors dealing with inflammation, bone thinning, or sluggish digestion, this next bread might just be your best friend. Let's explore the incredible benefits of this old-world favorite, sourdough bread, the ancient loaf that heals from the inside out. 3. Sourdough bread, the ancient loaf that heals from the inside out. It's not just sour, it's sacred. This ancient loaf does what modern breads can't. It heals from the inside out. Sourdough bread is made through natural fermentation, using wild yeast and beneficial bacteria that break down the grain structure in a way that makes it easier to digest and more nourishing to the body. Unlike commercial breads, which rely on fast-rising yeasts and chemical additives, real sourdough takes time, and that time unlocks something powerful. During fermentation, compounds that typically block mineral absorption, like phytic acid, are broken down, allowing critical nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and iron to be absorbed more efficiently. These minerals are essential for bone strength, muscle coordination, and stable energy, three things that become increasingly vital after age 60. I've worked with older adults who've suffered from bloating, unpredictable blood sugar swings, and gut discomfort until they switched to sourdough and started feeling steadier, clearer, and even lighter in their step. But the benefits go beyond digestion. The live cultures in sourdough support the gut microbiome, which influences everything from immune strength to emotional resilience to cognitive clarity. In fact, a healthier gut can translate directly to sharper thinking and even improved mood, a connection I've seen time and again in seniors who thought their brain fog was just part of getting older. And there's another reason sourdough is special. It slows carbohydrate absorption. Thanks to the changes in starch structure during fermentation, sourdough bread has a lower glycemic impact, meaning it causes smaller, steadier rises in blood sugar compared to most other breads. That's a big win for anyone managing diabetes or trying to avoid energy crashes. But beyond the biology, there's something soulful about sourdough. The smell of a slice toasting, the crackle of the crust, the comforting chew, it reminds people of simpler times, homemade meals, and real nourishment. For many of my senior clients, just adding sourdough to their routine made breakfast feel less like a checklist and more like an act of self-care. And here's a tip I give everyone. Pair sourdough with healthy fats or lean protein, and you've got a blood sugar stabilizing, anti-inflammatory, nutrient-boosting meal that supports both body and brain. But before you rush to the bakery, one caution: not all sourdough is created equal. Look for authentic versions made with minimal ingredients and natural starters, not the supermarket kinds that just say sourdough on the label but are filled with preservatives and commercial yeast. Still, when chosen wisely, sourdough stands apart, not just as food, but as a daily ritual of healing. And now, as we've explored the 3 types of bread that strengthen and protect, it's time we address the other side of the story. Because just as some breads quietly build you up, others, though soft, sweet, or familiar, slowly break you down. Let's now turn our attention to the 3 types of bread every senior should avoid, starting with the most deceptively dangerous of them all: white bread. Now that we've explored the breads that can strengthen your body, calm your digestion, and sharpen your mind, it's time we face a harder truth. Because just as some breads quietly build you up, others, often more common, more familiar, even more comforting, are slowly breaking you down. These are the loaves that don't look dangerous, but can quietly undermine your blood sugar, drain your energy, increase inflammation, and put your balance at risk. For older adults, those effects aren't just inconvenient, they're life-changing. I've seen seniors go from independent to fragile, not because of age alone, but because of what was on their plate each morning. It's important to understand. Certain breads may look innocent on the outside, but they act more like sugar bombs or nutrient thieves once inside the body. And the worst part? Some of them are even marketed as healthy. So in this next section, we're going to uncover 3 types of bread that every senior should avoid, especially if you care about your memory, your joints, your mobility, or simply waking up each day feeling steady and in control. Let's begin with the most deceptively dangerous of them all: white bread, the silent thief of strength and stability. 1. White bread, the silent thief of strength and stability. Soft, simple, and deadly. This childhood favorite is quietly sabotaging your blood, brain, and balance. White bread, something many of us grew up with, feels safe, familiar, and harmless. But for older adults, it's one of the most deceptive threats sitting in the kitchen. Made from refined white flour, it's stripped of its fiber, germ, and essential nutrients, leaving behind little more than empty starch. That starch burns fast, hits your bloodstream like sugar, and triggers sharp spikes in blood glucose, followed by crashes that leave you dizzy, tired, and unsteady. And for seniors, those sudden blood sugar swings aren't just uncomfortable, they're dangerous. They can increase your risk of falls, reduce circulation to the legs and feet, and leave your brain foggy at the very moments you need clarity. Over time, eating white bread regularly accelerates the aging of your arteries, weakens blood vessels in the lower limbs, and contributes to inflammation, a silent destroyer of mobility and mental sharpness. I've worked with older patients who couldn't understand why they were so fatigued mid-morning, or why their balance was off, even though their diet seemed normal. Once we removed the white bread, their energy evened out, and their dizziness faded. But it doesn't stop at energy crashes. Because white bread lacks fiber, it also slows down digestion, increases the risk of constipation, and weakens gut health, something now strongly linked to brain aging and immune function. Worse still, it gives the illusion of fullness without delivering real nutrition, leaving the body craving more food, more sugar, and often leading to weight gain that stresses joints, the heart, and the mind. For seniors managing high blood pressure, arthritis, or memory concerns, white bread is like pouring gasoline on a fire you didn't know was burning. And the danger is that most people don't see it coming, because white bread feels like comfort. It reminds you of family dinners, sandwiches packed for school, or toast with butter in the morning sun. But sometimes, comfort has a cost. And in this case, that cost might be your energy, your balance, or your ability to move freely and confidently. If there's one thing I always tell seniors, don't let nostalgia decide your nutrition. Let science and how your body actually feels be your guide. Replacing white bread with whole grain or sourdough might seem small, but it's one of the most powerful changes you can make to protect your independence. Still, white bread isn't the only hidden threat. Some breads wear sweetness like a smile, warm, inviting, and filled with memories. But underneath that soft crust and sugary scent lies a danger that moves even faster. Let's take a closer look at the next one on our list: sweet bread and pastries, the deceptive delight that drains your vitality. 2. Sweet bread and pastries, the deceptive delight that drains your vitality. It smells like comfort, but bakes danger right into your body. Sweet breads and pastries, the cinnamon rolls, frosted buns, raisin loaves, or soft breakfast danishes may bring back warm memories of holidays and cozy mornings. But for seniors, these sugary treats are often among the most damaging foods you can eat. Why? Because behind the golden crust and soft, pillowy texture lies a dangerous combination of refined flour, processed sugars, and inflammatory fats that your aging body simply can't afford to process like it used to. These ingredients cause blood sugar to spike rapidly, then crash, leaving you tired, mentally foggy, and emotionally depleted. For older adults already dealing with low energy or memory lapses, this roller coaster can worsen symptoms and steal clarity, balance, and even mood. I've worked with countless seniors who told me they felt off after breakfast, foggy, heavy, or down, but never connected it to the sweet bread they were enjoying with their coffee. The truth is, when you're over 60, your body's response to sugar changes. Metabolism slows, insulin sensitivity weakens, and inflammation builds faster. That inflammation doesn't just affect your joints. It seeps into the nerves, clouds the brain, weakens circulation, and quietly accelerates aging. And while sugar gets most of the blame, there's an even more insidious ingredient hiding in many store-bought pastries: hydrogenated oils, also known as trans fats. These industrial fats don't fuel your body. They clog your cells, disrupt how nutrients are absorbed, and embed themselves into tissues, weakening everything from your muscles to your memory. The result? You may start to feel slower, stiffer, or more irritable, and you might not even realize these changes began with something as innocent as a sweet bun. What makes it worse is the emotional attachment we have to these foods. A pastry can feel like a reward, a slice of joy. But for older adults trying to protect their health, these indulgences come at a high cost, one that's often paid in poor sleep, weight gain, aching joints, or cognitive decline. And I say this not to make you feel guilty, but to empower you with awareness. You don't need to give up joy. You just need to be wiser about where it comes from. There are nourishing alternatives that still satisfy without sabotaging your body. I often tell my clients, it's not about deprivation, it's about preservation. And that shift in mindset can change everything. Still, sweet bread isn't the most deceptive threat. There's one more loaf sitting quietly on shelves that looks healthy, even wears the label multi-grain like a badge of honor, but acts just like white bread once inside your body. It's a master of disguise, and if you're not careful, it may be quietly undermining everything you're working to protect. Let's take a closer look at the third bread seniors should avoid: multi-grain bread, the misleading loaf that pretends to protect you. 3. Multi-grain bread, the misleading loaf that pretends to protect you. Don't be fooled by the seeds on top. This healthy bread might be acting just like white bread inside your body. Multi-grain bread, often dressed in earthy packaging and labeled with words like 12 grain or made with whole wheat, feels like a responsible choice, especially for seniors trying to eat clean and stay strong. But what many don't realize is that these labels are often nothing more than marketing. The term multi-grain simply means the bread contains more than one type of grain, but it doesn't tell you whether those grains are whole or refined. And in most cases, they're refined. That means the nutrients, the fiber, the germ, the antioxidants, are stripped away, leaving behind processed starch that digests quickly, spikes blood sugar, and fuels inflammation. I've met seniors who proudly switched from white bread to multi-grain, believing they were doing their bodies a favor, only to wonder why their energy didn't improve or why their blood sugar remained unstable. The answer? Their bread was still acting like a simple carb bomb. What's even more deceptive is how these breads often contain a few visible seeds or flakes of oats, just enough to look wholesome. But read the label closely, and you'll often find enriched wheat flour or wheat flour as the first ingredient, not 100% whole grain. And that difference matters. For older adults whose digestion slows, immune systems weaken, and blood sugar regulation becomes more fragile, the daily impact of this nutritional illusion adds up. Over time, it means more fatigue, more inflammation, more joint pain, and yes, greater risk of falls and cognitive decline. What hurts most is the betrayal of good intentions. You're trying to eat well, to stay sharp and mobile, to make informed choices, and yet, the very bread you trust is quietly working against you. That's why I always teach my clients, don't just trust the front of the package. Turn it over. Look for 100% whole grain as the first ingredient. If it's not there, put it back. You deserve better. Multigrain bread that's mostly refined flour offers almost none of the metabolic or cardiovascular benefits your body needs in later life. It won't support your gut, your brain, or your blood sugar. And it certainly won't give you the sustained energy you need to move confidently through your day. The body becomes more responsive to what we feed it as we age, not less. Which means every bite matters more than ever. But now that you know the truth, you have the power to choose better. And this brings us to the heart of the matter. Food isn't just about nutrition, it's about freedom. The freedom to think clearly, to walk steadily, to live with dignity. Let's now wrap it all together and look at the bigger lesson behind these everyday choices. Because sometimes it's not the big things, but the small daily decisions that shape how well we age. So what does all this mean for you? It means that something as simple as the bread you choose each morning, something you may have never questioned, could be influencing how strong your legs feel, how clear your thoughts are, and how steady you stay on your feet. And that's the lesson so many people miss. Aging doesn't just happen overnight. It's shaped by hundreds of tiny, repeated decisions. Bread isn't just bread. For seniors, it's either a foundation that builds strength from within, or a slow erosion of energy, balance, and independence. The breads we've explored today tell two very different stories. On one side, you have 100% whole grain, oat, and sourdough breads, loaves that nourish the gut, stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support everything from brain function to joint health. On the other, you have the silent saboteurs, white bread, sugary pastries, and refined multi-grain breads dressed in healthy disguises, but loaded with simple starches and inflammatory fats that rob your body of what it needs most. And here's the truth. The impact of those choices doesn't just show up on blood tests. It shows up in how easily you rise from a chair, in whether you feel like walking or sitting, in how clearly you remember the names of loved ones, or whether your legs still carry you with confidence. In my 10-plus years helping seniors live longer, stronger lives, I've seen remarkable transformations begin with one change: choosing foods that heal instead of harm. That change doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require a doctor's prescription or an expensive supplement. It can begin with a single slice of bread, swapping something empty for something that empowers. And that's why I want to leave you with this. Every bite is a message to your body. Are you telling it to break down or to rise up? If this video opened your eyes or gave you something to think about, please click like, subscribe, and comment below with "I choose strength" if you're ready to take back control of your health, one slice at a time. And if you've learned something valuable, I'd love to hear which bread you plan to switch to, or which one surprised you the most. Let's support each other in this journey. Because aging doesn't mean decline. It means choosing more wisely, more intentionally, and more courageously than ever before. You still have the power to shape your future, and it can all begin with the bread on your plate. So, the next time you hold that loaf in your hands, pause and ask yourself, is this helping me walk stronger, think clearer, and live longer? Because you deserve to age with clarity, dignity, and strength. And yes, something as small as bread can be the beginning of that new chapter.